We got a special guest for you, so it's time to bring him in. And I want everybody to know, look, I'm very, very picky when it comes to my guests. Not only am I picky when it comes to my guests, it's not every day that I meet somebody who knows the game, a guy that knows the ins and outs of what they call the seduction community. I know a lot of people probably haven't heard of the seduction community or in the blog talk sector, but the seduction community is basically a group of men who think they know game, and what they do is they teach people how to date and how to pick up women. And I met this guy, and this guy blew me away. He blew me away so much I had to have him as our very first interview on the show. He's got 3 great books. One is called Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, From Loser to Seducer. And I'm a man, that's my job. D, that's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah, that was lovely.
No, all the way from up north in Canada, his name, Frank B Kermit. Frank, I want to welcome you on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Dean. It's great to be here. Always a pleasure to be interviewed by Steve the Dean. And hello to Dion. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, too, man.
Now, listen here, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to call in and talk, we got a lot of things to cover, man. We have a lot of things to cover. If you want to call in, please get your crayons out. Call in at area code 347-838-8420. We're here with Frank from Frank's Talks, and he is going to talk to us about dating in the game. But first, let's get to know Frank. Frank, why don't you tell us the story of Frank B Kermit?
All right, the story of Frank B Kermit starts out when I was a teenager, and I hit my first strike, my first big major heartbreak. I got stood up at my prom. That's the thing that movies are made about. It really happened to me. And there's some things that change the course of your life, change the way you see things, change the way you see yourself. When I got into university, by then I had already lost my virginity. I had had a few girlfriends. In university, I met a girl who I thought for sure I was going to marry. We were together for 3 years on and off. I was absolutely convinced she was the one. And after 3 years together on and off in a very drama-filled relationship, she ended up with one of my best friends. So that was a double betrayal right there. I started figuring out, you know what? I got so enraged, I got so angry, and I turned it all inward. A couple of years later, I had met up with another girl that I hung out with her for 2 years, and she insisted that her and I could never date because she was of different race and culture than me. I respected that. I said, you know what, but I really like her, so I'm going to spend time with her, spend all kinds of money on her. Every time we went out, I paid for everything. And then one day, around Christmas time, she announces to me that she's met somebody and is getting married.
Wow.
Now, that was already hard enough to take. But again, I was happy for her until I found out that the guy she was about to marry was a guy who was of a different race and culture than her.
Oh, man.
That was it. That for me was, but I don't understand. You told me we couldn't date for that reason, so what gives? And she said she had rejected him at first, but he pursued her. And she didn't expect it to happen. He just seduced her. And it was that night that I said, you know what? This stuff keeps happening to me. It's got to stop. And that's when I made the decision to change my life. At that particular point, it had been 2.5 years since I had gotten any sex. I was very, very touch-starved. And that's when I decided that I was going to make getting my love life in order my priority, and nothing else, not school, not my work, not anything else was ever going to be as important as that. And I ended up, after 5 years of having no sex in total, I built my first harem of 5 girlfriends at the same time. I got back my ex-fiancée, which was gave me a lot of closure. I had a poly date, which is to bring 2 girls together on Valentine's Day for the same dinner date and festivities. I've had some really great relationships, some amazing women, most of whom I'm still in very good contact with. And about 3 to 4 months ago, I got married.
Congratulations. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
That is great. Now I need to get your opinion on the seduction community, because I don't know if I gave them enough props. So I'm gonna be quiet and let you kind of explain to the listeners what the seduction community is and what part do you play in the seduction community.
All right. I am a product of the seduction community, but I'm not a seduction community product. Let's get really right into it. So the seduction community was forced into existence after militant feminism changed the way that women viewed relationships. It changed the way that men viewed relationships, because both men and women had different expectations about what a relationship is supposed to be. They went into it with a bunch of intellectual constructs about how a relationship should be, and unfortunately, a lot of those particular constructs don't work in the real world. The very idea that a man and woman have to be absolutely equal in everything in a relationship works great as an intellectual idea, but it kills attraction when you're actually in a relationship like that. Men and women need equal rights under the law to protection, but men and women are not equal, and trying to force an ideal on a reality that doesn't accept it causes heartache. So a lot of guys end up becoming lost. When Ross Jeffries started putting out products on speed seduction, their material was so dense that guys needed help to study the material. So through Ross Jeffries' list, people were saying, hey, is anybody in this city? Let's meet up and study this material. Eventually, those formed the first male layers. Women have been forming seduction layers for years. If you've read the book called The Rules,